Hi guys, this is Raghav here from Headphone Zone. In today's video, we are looking at the very best in-ear monitors and earphones in 2024 for under rupees 5,000. Now I know we've made these videos a few years in a row now, and I just thought that it's a great time to make an updated list of this year's best earphones under rupees 5,000. It's a very exciting segment because while all the action was at the 2,000 rupee price point last year, this year's action is all at the 5,000 rupee segment. And one of the very common questions that we get asked all the time is that when you upgrade yourself from the 2,000 rupee IEMs, which are phenomenal value for money, what do you get at a slightly higher price point, and is it worth the money? So in today's video, we're going to be looking at 8 of my favorite IEMs for rupees 5,000, comparing them to each other, telling you what the difference between a 2,000 rupee IEM and the 5,000 rupee IEM is, if it's worth the extra money for you to upgrade, and then ultimately help you choose which one is the right one for you. So the very first IEM that I have to talk about when I'm making a video about the best earphones at about 5,000 rupees is the Thruthear X Crinacle ZERO RED edition, or Project Red as a lot of us know about it in the audiophile community. Now, I've made a dedicated video talking all about the Zero Red. We've made lots of comparisons of the Zero Red to a whole bunch of other IEMs. This is by far the most popular IEM at the 5,000 rupee price point. It's just slightly over 5,000 rupees these days. I think it's for rupees 5,499. But it is the IEM to beat because almost everybody who's heard them loves them. And there is a lot to love. For those of you who don't know about this earphone, it's a collaboration that Thruthear, which is an up-and-coming IEM brand from China, did along with a YouTube reviewer, Crinacle. He's a very good friend of mine, and Crinacle tunes a lot of these IEMs and does collaborations with a lot of different manufacturers, and they're very popular because of the credibility Crinacle has. His ears are worth their weight in gold. A lot of people really like his reviews, and they like the kind of earphones he tunes. The Project Red is the earphone that he made working along with Thruthear over a long period of time, and they've done a phenomenal job with it. In terms of configuration, it's got 2 dynamic drivers. A dual dynamic configuration is not very common. It's quite rare, and it's quite a unique, different tuning that they've gone for. It's very well balanced. Almost everybody who's reviewed these says that they're probably one of the best sounding budget IEMs which are out there, and that they sound several times their price. What is amazing about them is that if you consider that this is a very well balanced tuning, it's hard for me to flaw it in any way. It's got just the right amount of bass. It's got really rich vocals, a dynamic mid-range. It's got a really nice, detailed, sparkly highs and top end. But you'll also find that it's not harsh, it's not sibilant, it's not shouty. Everything's right about it. There's really nothing for me to complain. What is also really interesting is that it comes with a 10 ohms impedance adapter. It's a small little adapter that you can add onto the 3.5mm jack. And when you do that, it just increases the bass a little bit. For a lot of people who like that little extra bass in the sound signature, that's one very easy and innovative way in which you can increase that. So for rupees 5,499, what you get is a superb IEM in the Thruthear Crinacle Project Red, the Zero Red edition as we call them. And it is the IEM to beat, which is why this is the first IEM I want to talk about, so that everything else can be, sort of say, benchmarked against this. So who would I recommend this to? I would recommend this to people who really like the 7Hz SalNote Zero as their IEM for 2,000 rupees. That also has been tuned by Crinacle incidentally, and he collaborated with 7Hz to do that. One of the things that people don't like about the 7Hz SalNote Zero is that there's not enough bass and that the treble can get a little shouty. This fixes both of those problems. It's got much nicer, meaner bass, and the treble is not at all shouty. And so it sounds like a really nice big upgrade for that little extra money that you're going to be giving for this. So highly recommend it. Okay, so the second IEM on my list is an IEM that has a very simple but similar philosophy as the Thruthear ZERO RED, which is to give you a really nice balanced sound signature, but with just a little extra bass in there to make it fun. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Kiwi Ears Cadenza, priced at rupees 3,200. So it's quite a bit more affordable as compared to the Thruthear ZERO RED, while giving you a nice and rich sound signature with a lot of details in there. Now, as compared to the ZERO RED, this has a little bit more bass in there. Don't get me wrong, it's still relatively balanced, but that little extra bass which is there in the low end just makes this a little bit more fun to listen to. The treble is also relatively smooth. There's no extra sparkle, extra detail in there. So for a lot of people who don't like that top end harshness, they might like this quite a bit. So I highly recommend these IEMs to anybody who's looking for something that is still an upgrade from the 2,000 rupee price point, but is not necessarily got too much of a top end out there and has just that little extra bass as compared to what they may have been used to. At 3,200 rupees, this represents phenomenal value for money. One that I don't think anybody can go wrong with, because it's just a little bit more than the 2,000 rupee IEMs which are out there, but giving you phenomenal value for money in terms of the upgrade. Now, it has a single beryllium dynamic driver. Beryllium is the material of choice for some very, very high-end headphones and IEMs out there. So I was shocked to see beryllium drivers available for an IEM this affordable, which I think in itself makes this a great steal for anybody who's eyeing an IEM in this segment. Now, in terms of build qualities, the Kiwi Ears Cadenza is a really interesting IEM because it's quite compact, it's not very large. So for a lot of people who are used to something like the Thruthear ZERO RED and find that it's a little too big for them, the Kiwi Ears Cadenza addresses that problem. It's super compact, fits almost all ears. All right, for number 3, we have this. This is another audiophile community favorite, a superb IEM priced at rupees 4,399. The SIMGOT EW200, again from China. Now, SIMGOT is not a new brand. They've been around for a while, but in the recent few years, they've been starting to release some incredible IEMs, which at different price points represent phenomenal value for money, which is why they've become very, very popular, especially in the audiophile community. Now, one of the reasons why I think that this is superb value for money is because it's one of the few IEMs in this price point which is entirely made out of metal. The build quality on this is just phenomenal. It's incredible. Now, it's not just the faceplate. The entire earpiece is made out of metal, and it's a very high quality aircraft grade aluminum that I think they're using on this, which is why it's superb to hold in your hands. It's not very heavy either. You'll find that it's quite compact, fits in your ear really well, even if you have relatively small ears. In terms of sound, the single dynamic driver is a very capable dynamic driver, and it's been tuned superbly. It's still a relatively balanced sound signature, but you'll find that as compared to the Thruthear ZERO RED, this has just a little bit more punch in the bass, a little bit more sharpness in the treble. I think the easiest way for me to describe the sound signature is to call it just a little crunchy and spicy. So you'll find that it's got a nice kick, and at the same time, it sounds nice and sharp to listen to. So for a lot of people, this does sound very, very detailed, very rich, very fun, while still having an overall very balanced tuning. So for a lot of people out there, I think you'll find that people who like this type of tuning will really, really love it more than any other IEM at the 5,000 rupee price segment, which is why the SIMGOT EW200 has a cult following of audiophiles who swear by their sound signature. All right, number 4 on the list, we have the eternal favorites KZ with the ZS10 Pro X. This is a very, very popular IEM, and the ZS10 Pro X has been on this list for a few years now, for good reason. For less than 5,000 rupees, what you get with this earphone is just insane. A total of 10 drivers, 5 on each side in a hybrid configuration. What you get is 4 balanced armature drivers, which are highly detailed and sensitive, specifically for the mid-range and treble on each side. And in addition to that, you get 1 mean dynamic driver specifically for the bass on each side. So that's a total of 5 drivers per side for less than 5,000 rupees. Only and only possible with a KZ, guys. I don't know how they do it, but it's just incredible the kind of value for money that they get. Now, in terms of tuning, this is a very typical KZ tuning. You'll find that the sound signature on the KZ ZS10 Pro X, like every other KZ out there, or certainly most of them, is a very unapologetic V-shaped sound signature. Great bass, tons of it, super, super sharp and snappy treble. Anybody who likes this knows that it sounds like a party in your head. Everybody will love this sound signature. If you're someone who likes the KZ ZS10 Pro X, if you like the KZ ZS-TX, you like the KZ ZEX, anybody who likes any of these, this is that and more. So when you upgrade from a 2,000 rupee KZ to a 5,000 rupee KZ, they're giving you everything you love about that and refining it and giving you much more bass, giving you much more treble. The only drawback of this IEM, I would say, is for people who are very, very sensitive towards the treble. You will find that this can sound quite harsh, quite fatiguing, and it can, at some point of time, to a lot of audiophiles, even sound a bit shouty. I don't know how to describe it. When you listen to it, you will know what I mean. But for everybody else out there who swears by their KZ, they will find this is their hero. So that brings me to my next IEM, and what I would say is probably one of my personal favorite IEMs in this price point, which is the ORIVETTI OD100. It's priced just above 5,000 rupees. It's a phenomenally well-built IEM, very, very refined, super compact, made entirely out of metal, so it looks super, super premium. It's very similar to the KZ sound signature, which is that it has a V-shaped sound signature, a lot of bass, a lot of treble, but unlike the KZs, this sounds so much more refined, so much more clean, and the treble does not sound shouty. So if somebody came to me and said, hey Raghav, I love my KZ IEMs and I'm looking for the next IEM with a budget of 5,000 rupees, this would be my top recommendation. It also helps that the OD100 comes with a phenomenal set of accessories. They're really, really nicely laid out. It's a super premium product that you're going to hold in your hand and wear in your ears. Very compact, very comfortable to wear, and probably for that reason, I would say that this year, this is probably my favorite IEM under 5,000 rupees. All right, number 6 on this list is the FiiO FH11, priced at just under 5,000 rupees. FiiO is such a popular brand in the audiophile community, guys. Goes without saying, they make some outstanding high quality products. The FH11 is no different. It's a hybrid IEM, one with a single dynamic driver and a balanced armature driver per side. And it's trying to give you what a hybrid IEM is best known for, which is giving you a nice pronounced V-shaped sound signature. Nice, crunchy, sparkly highs, great mid-range, and at the same time, nice punchy bass with a lot of kick and low end out there. At least that's what FiiO's gone for with this IEM. Pretty predictable, and they've achieved a really high quality of build with these earphones. They look phenomenal. They're quite heavy. I would say probably the heaviest IEM in this segment, which probably tells you that they're very, very well built. Now, I think what's important to know is that this is kind of like a mid-ground between the KZ ZS10 Pro X and the ORIVETTI OD100. It doesn't quite have the refinement in the presentation like the OD100 does. It doesn't quite have that extra kick on that bass and that extra punch on the treble, but you'll find that as compared to the KZ ZS10 Pro X, the FiiO is a lot smoother. Doesn't quite have those peaks that the KZ has, so it doesn't sound as in your face and aggressive, but can still sound fun to listen to if you're someone who's looking for that V-shaped sound signature. All right, so now I've given you 3 IEMs that I really like, which have a very well-balanced sound signature, pretty neutral, but with just a little extra bass. And I've given you 3 IEMs with a nice V-shaped, aggressive sound signature, something that you would like if you are looking for extra treble, extra bass, just something that's more energetic. But there are a lot of people in this price segment who want something neutral but want a really nice and wide sound stage. Because a lot of us audiophiles really like this idea that different elements of music are spread out on a virtual sound stage where you can kind of individually position each of these instruments in your head and be able to hear them separately. That's exactly where my next IEM recommendation comes in. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Final Audio VR2000, priced at just under 4,000 rupees from Japan. This is an IEM that is specifically made to give you that holographic imaging, giving you that super wide soundstage where each of the instruments get separated in your head. And which is why Final Audio really positions this IEM as the ideal IEM for gamers. A lot of people who are looking specifically for IEMs that they could use to get that little extra edge in a competitive video game, they would most likely get the Final VR2000, hands down as the best IEM for gaming in this segment. Now, it's very well tuned, it's very well balanced. I would say it's very neutral as an IEM. It doesn't have any extra exaggeration in the bass. The treble sounds nice and crisp and sharp, so even footsteps sound clear and sound something that you can identify within milliseconds as soon as you have these IEMs on. So for that reason, I think that they have modeled these earphones specifically based on the feedback of gamers. But even audiophiles will love this sound signature if you're someone who really likes and appreciates that holographic wide soundstage. So for that reason, the VR2000, ladies and gentlemen, my top recommendation for someone looking for a very nice and wide soundstage. All right, the last one on my list. This is number 8. And the QKZ X HBB Hades. QKZ is a relatively new brand out there. They've not made too many IEMs, but some of them are quite popular. HBB stands for Hawaiian Bad Boy, a very famous YouTuber who out there collaborates with QKZ quite frequently. Last year, they released the QKZ HBB Khan, which is a very popular IEM. I mentioned it in last year's video. This is the successor to that, the Hades. Now, like all HBB collaborations with QKZ, this is quite predictable. This is an out-and-out unapologetic bass monster. You'll find that they've exaggerated the lower end to the point where anybody who calls us up and says that, hey Raghav, I'm looking for an IEM which has a shitload of bass, this is easily my number one recommendation to them. Now, while there is a lot of quantity in the bass, only because it's been tuned to move air every time something in the low frequencies plays, I'm not necessarily sure I would call this the best quality of bass. Now, that's a little bit of a debate, but for people who are just simply looking for that extra bass sound signature, well, here it is, guys, the QKZ HBB Hades. All right, guys, here's my summary of this entire video if you managed to wait with us for so long to come towards the end. I know a lot of y'all in the comment section are going to come in and say that, oh my God, Raghav, you managed to confuse us all over again. Now we don't know which IEM to pick. So here is my too long didn't read summary of the entire video. If you're looking for a well-balanced sound signature, if you're someone who really likes the sound signature of a 7Hz Salnode Zero, a Moondrop Chew 2, a Tangzu Warner, and you're looking for an upgrade, the best IEM out there by far is the Thruthear X Crinacle ZERO RED. It is the most popular IEM by a mile in this price segment. Everybody owns one, loves it. For most of the people out there, it represents what a very nice, neutral, well-balanced tuning should be, with just the right amount of bass in there. And for that reason, it becomes the default recommendation. If you're someone with a very tight budget and wants to save on money while getting similar performance, the Kiwi's Cadenza is much better value for money, priced at only 3,200 rupees out there. The best sounding IEM for a lot of people, especially if they find the Thruthear Crinacle ZERO RED just a little bland, not enough energy, would be the SIMGOT EW200. Similar to the Thruthear Crinacle ZERO RED, but with just a little extra on top end crispness, a little bit more bite, and a little bit extra kick on the bass. Priced at 4,200 rupees, it's also superbly built, so a lot of people like that. If you're someone who wants a V-shaped sound signature, which means that you were a fan of the KZ ZSN Pro X, the KZ ZEX, and you want an IEM that's a little bit more fun, that's energetic, that's in your face, the ZS10 Pro X might be the default recommendation, but I prefer the ORIVETTI OD100. Everything that's good about the KZ without the shoutiness. If you're someone who wants that ultra wide sound stage, if you really like that holographic imaging, or if you're someone who loves gaming, the Final Audio VR 2000 at 4,000 rupees is a complete no-brainer. And only if you're an unapologetic bass head who wants that extra bass sound signature, well, you have the QKZ HPB Hades. Now, all of these IEMs work just great along with a reasonably good sounding amp and DAC. So I use something like the Headphone Zone XDD Hi-Fi High-Res DAC for 2,000 rupees along with my phone. It works flawlessly. I use this to test out all the earphones out there. Now, I would highly recommend that if you're getting yourself a 5,000 rupee earphone, that you use it to its maximum potential, pairing it along with a high-res amp and DAC. I would love for all of y'all to be able to listen to all these IEMs and tell me what you think. It makes a lot of difference to know that people have similar opinions as what I'm thinking about these IEMs, and that they found something that they like more than the other. So to listen to all these IEMs, feel free to come down to our experience studio right here in Mumbai and find us at a Headphone Connect event happening in a city near you. We're coming all across the country this year, so keep an eye out for when the next Headphone Connect is happening. Thank you. Bye-bye. Earphones under 2,000 coming up soon.